Episode 14 of the 1000 Year Blood War arc anime is releasing this Saturday, so I wanted to release a final video going over the last bits of news before the Bleach anime returns. So we've known for a while that there would be a Bleach 1000 Year Blood War panel at AnimeExpo this year. Viz revealed that the panel will be giving attendees a sneak peek at episode 14 of the new anime, along with Masakazu Morita, the Japanese voice actor for Ichigo, being present too. Last year at AnimeExpo we had a new trailer drop for Cour 1 of the anime, along with comments from Kubo and the anime staff about Cour 1 and what fans can expect from it. Now going into AnimeExpo this year, I was trying not to get my hopes up too high, as I'd assumed that it would be just some previews that we'd be getting for episode 14, and there would be no news or announcements that would be made, considering we're only a week away from Cour 2 starting. I felt that this panel at AnimeExpo this year would be similar to the Bleach panel Viz held at New York Comic Con on the 8th of October, which was just a couple of days before episode 1 of Cour 1 had started to air. So New York Comic Con last year was when we had first learned that Bleach was going to be simulcasted on Disney+, because fans outside of the US didn't even know if we were going to be getting a simulcast until literally 2 days before Cour 1 was starting, which is just so typical of Viz Media. Now when it comes to the coverage of the Bleach panel at AnimeExpo this year, I want to thank the Weebs Guild who actually attended and was live tweeting while the event was going on, so that all of us not in attendance could be kept up to date as to what was happening, because yet again Viz for whatever reason did not live stream the event as per usual. So the AnimeExpo panel started by going over Bleach merch at AnimeExpo, as they'd spoken about some bags, posters, lanyards, skateboard decks, etc. So yeah, there's a lot of new Bleach merch coming later in July it seems, like a new Uniqlo line of Bleach shirts, along with a Bleach Cafe pop-up store I'm guessing. Viz then revealed a trailer for the 4 movie collection of Bleach, advertising a compilation Blu-ray collection of the 4 Bleach movies. Continuing with the merchandise reveals, we learn about some new Bleach figures being displayed at AnimeExpo called Bleach Q Posket. Now these are cute chibi figures of Bleach characters which are being created by Banpresto. So Morita finally appears on stage then, and apparently fans were chanting Morita, which I don't blame them to be honest, because the man is incredible. I've been following his coverage during AnimeExpo and it's been hilarious to see on Twitter. So with Morita on stage, a question and answer panel begins. So Morita has asked the following questions. The first is, how is he enjoying AnimeExpo so far? He says that he's been having lots of fun and it's been a while since he's been back to America, but he's really enjoyed meeting so many people. He's then asked about what he thinks are the best things about American conventions. He says that he's enjoyed walking around and seeing everyone enjoy the event in their own way. He's then asked about what his favorite thing about playing Ichigo is. He says that he's been getting this feeling since he had started work on the 1000 Year Blood War arc, but people who had started to watch Bleach as kids and are now watching it as adults are feeling very strongly towards the series, and he says that he can feel the energy. I think he enjoys seeing people having grown up with Bleach as a series, and with him portraying the character of Ichigo and remembering him from their childhood, I guess. He asked the audience while they were watching Bleach as kids, did anyone pretend to be some of the Bleach characters, like Ichigo or Hitsugaya for example. The audience obviously goes crazy in response to some of these suggestions. Now following these couple of questions, Morita does some voice acting for the fans, and he says some iconic lines from the 1000 Year Blood War arc anime, and I'm sure that you'll be able to recognize some of these iconic lines from the first Cour. Obviously, that was Ichigo's line when he asks if YHWACH was the one who was responsible for making such a mess of the Soul Society. Now, despite Viz asking people to stop recording during the panel, there have been some audience members who just couldn't help themselves, as Morita continues to voice act more lines from Cour 1, like when Ichigo was speaking to Zangetsu during episode 13. Morita had also asked the audience to yell Getsuga Tencho and Bankai with him, and he seems to be doing a good job of pumping up the audience before they get to see some sneak peeks of episode 14. So the question and answer panel continues after the voice lines by Morita, and he's asked about his favorite scene in the 1000 Year Blood War arc anime. He states that it's a scene that fans have loved also, and it's when Yamamoto's Bankai is first revealed. He talks about how the visuals had just blown him away. Now one of the hosts from Viz hasn't actually seen the 1000 Year Blood War arc anime, and rightfully the audience boos at the host, and I can't believe that Viz has hosts that are not even Bleach fans doing these panels, and it's obvious that they care more about other series like Naruto than to give Bleach the love that it deserves. Morita is then asked that if he didn't play Ichigo, who would he play? He says that playing Ichigo is a lot of responsibility, but his very favorite character is Yamamoto, and when he is older and if he is still voice acting, he would love to play a character like Yamamoto. He then asks the audience if they think that he could play such a role, and the audience cheers, encouraging Morita. He is then asked if he remembers any funny things that have happened during the recording sessions of Bleach. He says that things have changed with recording sessions for anime, and it's not just with Bleach, it's in all of Japan, but voice actors now record in separate booths. Because before COVID, all of the voice cast used to gather in order to record one scene in particular, so they had a lot of time to speak with the other voice actors who were working on a particular scene too. He said that in the US, voice actors usually record in separate booths from the get-go, but this practice has now come over to Japan ever since COVID. He says that now each of the voice actors go into separate booths, and at most maybe there's 2 or 3 of them together, but there aren't as many fun episodes because of COVID, which seems to have put a damper on the recording sessions for the 1000 Year Blood War arc. But he does say that Kubo is there for all of the recording sessions, so if Morita has any questions about Ichigo's lines, he just asks Kubo himself. Now this is so reassuring to hear, to know that every line that's said within the anime is overseen by Kubo. It just shows the amount of commitment that he has to the actual anime. Now it's after this question that we learn that they're going to reveal a sneak peek of Cour 2 at the end of the panel. Morita is then asked why he thinks that people love Ichigo so much. He says that people come to love Ichigo for a number of different reasons, and he thinks that the number one reason is Ichigo's strength. And Ichigo's strength isn't just physical, but the strength of his character as a whole. He believes that everyone can empathize with Ichigo, especially when he goes through a bout of tough training, but he slowly grows as a result of it. He says that while fans fight and struggle through their own difficulties, they can continue to support Ichigo as he goes through his own difficulties via the anime. He is then asked who his favorite character is in Bleach if it wasn't Ichigo, but he doesn't give an answer because he doesn't want to offend anyone. So the last question of the Q&A is if he has a message for international fans, and he says that he thanks them so much for supporting Bleach, and they've had a lot of great feedback and support as a result of the 1000 Year Blood War arc anime, and he's really glad to see that everyone's love for Bleach has helped to revive and grow it even stronger. He says that the anime had started in 2004, and he had started voice acting Ichigo when he was only 32, and this year he's turning 51. He says that it's been an honor to have everyone's support for all of this time, and it really moves him. He goes on to say that they had an autograph session yesterday, and he heard that a lot of fans had grown up with Bleach, and Bleach had inspired them in some way or another. And he says that as a child, he himself had looked up to different people and characters from fictional works. And he's really glad to have come to AnimeExpo 2023 because he's realized that Bleach had also inspired a lot of fans in the US in the same way that he was inspired as a child. And he feels like this is such an honor for him. He thanks all of the US fans for attending and for making it such a memorable experience for him, and he appreciates it a lot. Morita of course bows to the audience, and he's just such an incredible guy, to be honest. After this there was a cosplay contest, and cosplayers were each numbered and told to come on stage and to scream their character's iconic line on stage, and Morita will be picking his top 3 cosplayers. The cosplayers all stand next to Morita on stage as he picks an Ichigo cosplayer, a Rukia cosplayer, and a Tozen cosplayer. And it seems like there were some misunderstandings with the translators who had confused Morita saying that he was going to struggle picking a top 3, with the translator thinking that he had said cosplay 3 was one of his picks, which was a Tozen cosplayer. Well, I guess that the Tozen cosplayer had ended up winning 3rd place in the end, even if he was selected by accident. Viz here are caught slipping once again, so Morita took a selfie with the cosplayers, and he says that he's going to post it on his social media later. Okay, so now we learned that there is going to be a new key visual revealed at AnimeExpo. The new key visual has been revealed, and it's of Uryu, Bambietta, Grammy, Bazby, Hashward, and YHWACH at the top. Of course, revealing that the second cour of the 1000 Year Blood War arc anime is going to start airing on Saturday, the 8th of July. Now, I'm really glad that we at least got some form of an update about the Cour 2 anime during the AnimeExpo panel. Now, if this wasn't enough, the sneak peeks for episode 14 begin as the AnimeExpo panel starts to wrap up. So we learned that episode 14 actually starts with a YHWACH flashback, and I think this is an anime exclusive scene, or it's been extended from the manga, and it's a clip that shows the birth of YHWACH, and it shows his progress from a soul all the way to a body, and it wraps up with YHWACH opening his eyes, and we'll get to see this right at the start of episode 14 on Saturday, hopefully. Now, the second preview scene from episode 14 is from Hueco Mundo, and it shows Urahara present monitoring Chad and Orihime, who are training with someone behind them. We then see shirtless Ichigo as Ichibei tells him that he needs to surpass being just an ordinary Shinigami. Ichigo wields a wooden sword as the walls begin to disappear, and he is brought to a sacred place in order to test if he's worthy of being a Shinigami. We are then shown Shunsui, who hopes that everything is going well for Ichigo, and the clip ends at the Squad 1 barracks. Now Morita, after this specific scene, says that this training scene with Ichibei was not in the original manga, and according to Kubo, this scene has always been in his mind, but he hadn't included it within the manga. So ever since the anime had started, he had actually endeavored to include this scene into the anime, revealing what Ichigo was doing during this time right before the Sternritter begin their second invasion of the Soul Society. Morita comments on how there wasn't any reference for the anime staff to go off of for this particular scene, but there's apparently a bit here where we see Ichigo's back muscles, and Morita is quite surprised at how ripped Ichigo is. Now the third scene involves Uryu and Yhwach, as Uryu says that he wants to ask Yhwach something before his initiation ritual, and we have a dialogue between Yhwach and Uryu as he asks why is it that he is his successor. Yhwach says that if he thinks a little then it should be obvious as to why, as he asks him why is it that he is still alive. We then cut to a scene with Uryu in a graveyard with loads of graves around him, as Yhwach tells him that Uryu is the only Quincy in history to have survived Ashwalan. This leads to Uryu saying that he had always wondered why he had survived when his mother didn't. He tells Uryu that Quincy and Shinigami can never get along, but Uryu says that he has severed all of his ties with the Shinigami before coming here, so that he can battle them without any restraint. The scene ends with Yhwach beckoning Uryu to join him, as Uryu follows and drinks a cup of Yhwach's blood, which bestows upon him the letter A, which is the same as Yhwach. Now this scene in the graveyard is again an anime only scene apparently, according to Morita. He also says that during Cour 2, which has been dubbed as the Separation, there are going to be a lot of additional scenes that haven't appeared within the manga, and he says that the second Cour of the 1000-Year Blood War arc is going to be one that you cannot look away from, as he says that he hopes that everyone looks forward to it. The panel that wraps up with the cosplayers getting a signed poster from Morita, and Morita's final words are that he thanks everybody for coming out, asking them if they've had fun. He says that Cour 2 of the 1000-Year Blood War arc has amazing visuals and amazing sound, and he thinks that it's going to blow everyone away, as he tells them all to look forward to it. And that's pretty much the AnimeExpo 2023 Bleach panel and all of the things that were revealed during it. I just wanted to do a quick news video covering all of the reveals that we've had in regards to the question and answer session with Morita, the key visual that you've seen on screen, this incredible one of all of the Sternritter and Yhwach, and lastly the previews for episode 14 that we've had, which reveal an exclusive Ichibei training scene with Ichigo and a scene with Uryu at a graveyard. I really cannot wait for Saturday, and I hope that all of you are excited as I am, and we've reached the point of the video where I hand over the discussion to all of you. What do you think about all of the information revealed at AnimeExpo this year? Are you excited following Morita revealing that we're gonna have a lot more anime only scenes in Cour 2? I've also been hearing rumors that the final episode of Cour 2 will be 1 hour long, and it will be just focused entirely on Ichibei versus Yhwach. Now whether if this proves to be true or not, only time will tell, but definitely continue the discussion in the comments. And lastly, thank you for making it to the end of yet another Bleach update video, and this is most likely going to be my last update video before episode 14 drops on Saturday, so I hope that all of you stick around and look forward to my review when it drops as soon as the episode is released. So once again, thank you for making it to the end of this video, and I cannot wait to see all of you on Saturday the 8th of July when I will be reviewing episode 14 of Cour 2 of the 1000-Year Blood War arc anime. If you enjoy my content, then you can support my channel through Patreon for as little as $1 a month, or even through YouTube by becoming a channel member. You will gain access to exclusive channel perks and a Discord server which I frequently use. So become a member of my Zero Division and be the first to know about my upcoming videos. And once again, thank you for sticking around till the end of the video, and whatever you contribute will mean a lot to me.